Israeli sources say the victim, a 32-year-old man, approached the Israeli guard in an attempt to attack him. But Palestinians say Samer Sarhan, father of 5, was killed deliberately as he was walking down the road early Wednesday. A few other people were injured.
I go to see who is it. Who? I go there. I ask the police. They didn't say the name, but I know in the end that my husband of my daughter, he is the one they shot him.
Silwan neighborhood has always been a flashpoint between Israelis and Palestinians for some time now. Israel wants to demolish 22 houses in order to build an archaeological site, but Palestinians refuse to leave. Israeli settlers live side by side near their Palestinian neighbors, so arguments are frequent and clashes are ongoing.
They want the land without the people. They not want me because I am Arabic, I am Palestinian people. Yeah, they want to demolish our homes and they want to catch our area, and we will never leave our homes and we will never leave Jerusalem.
The clashes come a few weeks after direct talks were launched between the Palestinian Authority and Israelis in Washington. It also comes some days before the partial freeze on settlement construction expires. The Palestinian Authority says it will pull out of talks if the freeze is not extended, but Israel has so far refused. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has said he will not extend the freeze, but indicated he could limit construction work to major settlement blocks.
This comes at a very critical moment, right before the freeze of settlement issue is on the international diplomatic platform. And Israel hopes that with a violent reaction from the Palestinian people, it will be able to escape and avoid addressing the issue of the illegal colonial settlements.
Nearly 500,000 Israelis live in more than 100 settlements built on occupied land in the West Bank and East Jerusalem, Al-Quds. Under international law, all these settlements, which the PA wants a freeze on their expansion, are illegal. Israel closed off the Palestinian territories for the Jewish holiday of Sukkot, and down in Silwan neighborhood, the Israeli forces' presence as well as tension is still high. As leaders are talking together and smiling to cameras, the reality on the ground is different, and Palestinians say that they are upset and unhappy, and they demand an end to the Israeli occupation, which is, according to them, a major cause of violence. From Silwan neighborhood, Shirin Yassin, Press TV, Al-Quds.
And meanwhile, in a U-turn that will likely anger most Palestinians, the Palestinian Authority acting chief, Mahmoud Abbas, has said direct talks with Israel could continue. This despite Tel Aviv's settlement activities. The remarks seem to leave the door open for talks even if Israel resumes settlement expansion on the occupied West Bank. Abbas had earlier been very firm on his stance that he would walk out of the U.S.-sponsored talks if Israel did not continue its freeze on settlement activities. Israeli settlement expansion is illegal under international law. Tel Aviv finally agreed to a partial freeze 10 months ago, but continued announcing new settlement plans throughout that time. Now, the moratorium will expire on September the 26th, and despite international calls for it to be extended, Israel has announced that it would not do so. Earlier, we spoke to political analyst Hani Al-Bassous. He explains why many people think agreeing to the direct talks is a mistake.
I think the Palestinian people do not believe in Mr. Mahmoud Abbas anymore. They have witnessed for the past 19 years negotiations have achieved nothing for the Palestinian society, and we still suffer in Gaza and the West Bank and even in Quds, Jerusalem. So Mr. Mahmoud Abbas cannot decide on the issues of the Palestinian concerns. Mr. Mahmoud Abbas have taken many steps in the past in order to carry on negotiations with the Israeli side without even consulting the Palestinian people. I think and I believe myself that the PLO and the Palestinian Authority have no legitimacy and they are illegal in terms of not having the acceptance and the approval of the Palestinian people to give them the permission to speak on behalf of the Palestinian people.